Argentina against Switzerland. The last quarterfinal game we have is Argentina against Switzerland. Guys, like I said, I'm doing previews for every single quarterfinal matchups, and the last one we have is Argentina against Switzerland. Now, I feel like a lot of people are really underrating this matchup. I feel like a lot of people are struggling to see the incredible qualities in Switzerland that have brought them to this point. And pretty much everyone is talking about all the controversies going around with Argentina. Now, guys, in this video, as always, I'm going to try and be as unbiased as possible and try and be as level-headed as possible. So I'm going to try and talk about controversies as little as possible, but at the end of the day, that may still be a partial factor in deciding this result. As always, if you enjoy this matchday preview and you're excited for the semi-final matchday previews, remember to subscribe to the channel. We have just hit 10K subscribers, and next up is 11K. So guys, hit the subscribe and help me hit 11K. I would really appreciate it. And I know it doesn't take you guys a long time, so just press that subscribe button and help me out. Come on. But guys, as always, in this video, I'm going to start off by talking about Switzerland, then I'll talk about Argentina, and finally I'll give you guys my final preview for this match. But starting off with Switzerland, guys, so far in this tournament, honestly, I feel like Switzerland have really went under the radar. And I feel like coming to this tournament, a lot of people knew that Switzerland had a decent team. We know that Murat Yakin is a decent manager. Obviously, in his time at Switzerland, we can see that he has a pretty decent record. It's not like the best, but it is a pretty decent record. But in general, I feel like Switzerland are generally a pretty slept on UEFA nation. I feel like if you look at the likes of Norway, you look at even teams like Turkey, I feel like a lot of people always put more praise on these teams than the likes of Switzerland, when in my opinion, I think Switzerland are a pretty consistent team. I think they have some very good youngsters, and I think they have an overall good squad. And that's why I feel like you cannot underrate Switzerland in this game. Now, guys, if we look at Switzerland so far in this tournament, they've been decent. They have been decent. I will say that, in my opinion, in the group stages, they were in Group B, which I think was one of the groups of life. Obviously, for me, the three groups with the host nations, Group A, B, and D, were the three groups of life, and Switzerland were in one of those groups. Now, they started off the campaign horribly with the draw against Qatar. That draw was absolutely horrible. They dominated. They had over 3 expected goals. This was arguably the worst result compared to performances in this World Cup, as Switzerland had 3.2 XG, almost 70% possession, and it ended in a 1-1 draw. Guys, this result was absolutely crazy. It was horrible for Switzerland. Probably the worst result they could have gotten to start off the campaign. But since then, they've been very good. We saw them get that 4-1 win against Bosnia, which was a pretty comfortable win for them. They got that 2-1 win against Canada, which was also a decent game. This game against Algeria, I thought might give them problems, but at the end of the day, Algeria didn't really create anything. Switzerland were the better team. They probably could have even scored a third goal, and they got the comfortable win. And then against Colombia, guys, this game was always going to be the toughest game. I predicted a 1-1 draw and Switzerland to win in penalties. It ended up being 0-0, and Switzerland won on penalties. And the reason why Switzerland won, guys, and this is a big part in their team, is their goalkeeper Kobel, guys. I'm telling you, Kobel honestly may have been the best goalkeeper so far in this tournament. I think Kobel has been absolutely insane. If you go back to the group stages, you can mention the likes of Zion Suzuki. He's been very good. Some people may talk about Allison, but Kobel has been absolutely fantastic, guys. Look at his match ratings. He's been incredible in almost every single game. The only game where he kind of struggled slightly was against Bosnia, but they won 4-1. Guys, Kobel has been absolutely incredible. And the penalties that he was saving during Colombia was incredible as well. Now, guys, I did predict in penalties Switzerland to win, because Colombia, we know they can't finish their dinner for their life, guys. They had over 1 expected goal, 15 shots, they can't score a goal. We all know that about Colombia. Because I want to really look at the Switzerland team, because throughout this tournament, I feel like Murat Yakin has been really rotating the lineup. Sometimes you see Eberscher and Freuler in the midfield alongside Xhaka. Recently, we've seen Jashari come into that lineup. We've seen Ryder play at the top. We've seen Vargas play. We've seen Ndoye. We've seen Manzambi. We've seen so many different lineups in the Switzerland team. And that may be one thing that I think is slightly hurting them so far in this tournament, guys. I think if Murat Yakin would just stick with the same lineup for 2 games in a row, I think Switzerland would be much better off. But they are suffering with a few injuries, and that's definitely a problem. Now, for me, the biggest injury that they've recently suffered is Manzambi. Guys, this is a horrible injury. This is an absolutely horrible injury. Now, the injury itself isn't horrible. I mean, it's a knee injury, so he probably may be out for a few weeks, maybe a month. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think he will be playing in this game against Argentina, but that is very, very bad for Switzerland, because I'm being completely honest. If Manzambi was playing this game, Switzerland would win. That's how good Manzambi is, guys. I've been watching Manzambi throughout the whole season with Freiburg in the Europa League. He's been fantastic. He's only 20 years old. He's a year younger than me. And the versatility that he has to play as a defensive midfielder, as a box-to-box, as an attacking midfielder, on the left wing, on the right wing, as a striker. He is such a versatile player, and he can do a job in almost every single position in the midfield and in the attack. And that's why he's so good. And that's why with Switzerland in this World Cup, he's probably been their best player, even though he's had limited minutes, guys. He's gotten 3 goals and 2 assists within, what, under 200 minutes? It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. I remember in that first game against Qatar, he came off the bench, and I'm thinking in my head, how on earth did he not start this game? How on earth has Murat Yakin decided to bring Manzambi off the bench and decided to play Freuler and Abischer instead of him? I have no idea. Now, how can Switzerland win this game? I think this is going to be a very, very difficult game for Switzerland, because if you look at their midfield, Freuler, Xhaka, Jashari. I want to mainly talk about Xhaka because obviously Xhaka had a very good season in the Premier League. I personally feel like during this World Cup, he hasn't been his best. I feel like some games he's been very good. Some games he's been a little bit poor. I think he's been a bit inconsistent. So the midfield, I think, may be a slightly weak point for Switzerland. Now, defensively, I think they've been pretty good, but they are still prone to mistakes. I think their fullbacks have been very good. Zakaria, for me, has been probably one of the better players this tournament. I think he's been very good in the games that he's played. And as for their attack, like I said, if Vargas starts, I think that's a big, big upgrade instead of the likes of Ryder. And Bolo, he can score goals. And Doi, he is definitely a very important player as well. So I feel like the way that Switzerland can win this game is by counter-attacking Argentina, guys. I think that'll be a really, really important thing, because we've seen how Argentina struggles against teams that can counterattack. We've seen it in their last 2 games in a row, and we've seen it multiple times in this World Cup. I will talk about that a little bit more when I talk about Argentina, but that is an area where Switzerland can take advantage of Argentina. And that's why I think Ruben Vargas is a very important player, because they need to use the width in this team. We all know Argentina kind of play a skinny formation. They don't really use the width a lot. Their main wide players that do overlapping runs are the likes of Tagliafico, Molina, sometimes if Medina plays. But I don't think that Argentina's fullbacks have been that good this tournament, especially Molina, Tagliafico. I don't think they've been that good. So I think that these are definitely areas of the pitch that can be exposed for Argentina. And even in the midfield, like I said, Switzerland's midfield, I think, has been a bit inconsistent. But even a player like DePaul, I think he's had a shocking tournament. So those are areas that I think Switzerland can beat Argentina off a set piece, off of the plays that they run using the width. I think that'll be very, very important. And I think Murat Yakin knows that. And that's why I expect the wide players like Zakaria, like Vargas, like Ndoye to have a big, big part to play in this match. Now, we need to talk about the other team, Argentina. Hey, let me tell you guys, Argentina have been going through a lot of shit in this tournament, whether it's from rival fans, whether it's from the general media, just taking shot after shot after shot against Argentina. And honestly, sometimes I feel a little bit bad for them, because I'm not sure if they really want this picture of themselves, or it's just Infantino doing all his devious work. I don't know what it is. But guys, it is fair to say that Argentina have been getting calls going their way this tournament. There's no denying it. There's absolutely no denying it, guys. And that's the first thing I need to talk about, is this game against Egypt, guys. Because realistically, I want to talk about Egypt because they fumbled the bag. Okay, they were up 2-0, maybe could have been 3-0, and they lost. And why did they lose? Because they capitulated defensively. I think even if Argentina didn't get the calls going their way, I think with the mentality that they have, with Egypt completely dropping their heads for the last 25 minutes, I still think Argentina probably would have won this game. Were the calls fair? Were the calls equal on both sides? No, definitely not. Definitely not. But guys, we can still take a lot away from this game for Argentina in this game against Switzerland. And the main thing that I need to talk about first, which I already briefly mentioned, is the counterattacks. Now, if we look at this Argentinian team, guys, they are definitely very susceptible to counterattacks. And we've really seen that in the later stages of this tournament. Obviously, guys, if we look at Argentina so far in this tournament, they started off the group stages very, very well. They got that 3-0 win against Algeria, 2-0 against Austria, and then that 3-1 win against Jordan. I think for those group stage games, they were perfect. There wasn't much wrong. Messi was carrying, he scored all the goals, and that was that. But as we get into the knockout stages, as we get into the round of 32, as we get into the round of 16, we're starting to see see more flaws from Argentina, guys. I first saw it against Cape Verde, where once again, Argentina dominated in terms of possession. They had all the shots, but on the counterattack, they looked so susceptible to conceding goals. And it was mainly due to their fullbacks, in my opinion. Medina, to be fair, I thought was very good, but Molina, I thought he was very, very poor. And even if we go to that game against Egypt, guys, we look at, once again, their fullbacks. We look at the likes of Molina and we look at Tagliafico. I didn't think they were good enough. I did not think they were good enough. I thought every time that Egypt had a counterattack, they looked like they were going to score. You look at this whole team right here, Tagliafico and Molina have arguably the lowest ratings on the whole team, other than Julian Alvarez, who, guy, let's not talk about Julian Alvarez because I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea, but the games he's played, shocking. Absolutely shocking. He's done nothing. Lautaro Martinez hasn't done much. In the attack, it's only been Messi. Now, like I said, Argentina are susceptible to conceding goals from counterattacks, and that is definitely an area where Switzerland may try to utilize. This is where Switzerland may try to get their goals from. Now, what Argentina definitely will do in this game is they will be able to maintain possession. I do think Argentina will have more possession in this game. I could see them having 60 to 65%. And with that being said, I could also see them having more shots than Switzerland. But like I said, they need to make these shots count, guys. Messi cannot do everything. Obviously, if we look at Messi in this tournament, he's been fantastic, guys. He's scored in every single game. 3 against Algeria, 2 against Austria, 1 against Jordan, Cape Verde, and Egypt, and an assist against Egypt as well. He's been doing everything for Argentina so far in this tournament. And at 39 years old, bro, it's absolutely insane. But like I said, the other players need to step up if they want to win this game. If Alvarez or Lautaro Martinez, whoever is starting beside Messi, whether it's Alvarez or Lautaro Martinez, if they do not provide anything in the attack in this game, they don't get assists, they don't get goals, they don't get the assist to the assist, then Argentina will lose this game. Because I don't think you can rely on Messi to score everything. And other than that, you can rely on Fernandez or the center backs getting goals like Martinez or Romero. I don't think you can rely on these players, guys. Lisandro Martinez and Romero have been a big reason why Argentina are still in this tournament. And you're telling me that I have to rely on them more than Julian Alvarez, more than Lautaro Martinez? I don't think so. I absolutely don't think so. I think one of these other strikers, whoever plays, whether it's Alvarez or Martinez, they need to get some contribution to goals in this game. They need to. It's a must. If they don't, I don't know if Argentina can win this game. Now, as for my final preview of the match, guys, what do I think will happen in this game? Obviously, Argentina are ranked first by FIFA. Switzerland are ranked 19th. Now, I think both of these teams have been slightly inconsistent in this World Cup. Obviously, Argentina have won every game. Switzerland have got a couple draws, but they've won majority of their games. But I still think both teams, in terms of their performances, have been inconsistent. We've seen weaknesses from Switzerland and we've seen weaknesses from Argentina. Like I mentioned, in my opinion, Argentina's weakness is on the counterattack. We saw it against Cape Verde. We saw it against Egypt. And if we see that again in this game against Switzerland with wingers like Vargas, wingers like Ndoye, they will punish Argentina, and Switzerland can win that way off the counterattack. That's a way that they can win. Now, if we look at Argentina, guys, they will most likely try to maintain possession, try and keep the game a little bit calmer, and mainly probably cater towards Messi. But at the end of the day, I do think other players need to step up. We've seen Enzo Fernandez step up. We've seen the center back step up and score big goals. But I think the other striker, the other midfielders really need to step up. And realistically, I do think Argentina have the better team. I think Scaloni obviously is a good manager. I think Murat Yakin is too, but I think Scaloni is a very good manager. He knows what it's like to be in this situation, obviously having won the World Cup in 2022. So he will know what to do with his team. It's just about whether the team performs or not, whether they have a bad half or not, because we've seen in both Cape Verde's game and against Egypt game, for one of the halves, they were poor. Against Egypt, it was the first half. They were poor. Egypt looked better. Egypt opened the scoring, and Argentina couldn't really come back until later on in the game. I think in this game, Argentina need to be playing at their best right from the start. Now, with that being said, Argentina are mentality monsters. We've seen them do it for Messi before. We've seen what DePaul does for Messi. And for some reason in this game, I could see DePaul having a masterclass. I don't know why, but when it comes to Messi playing in one of his last World Cup matches, DePaul will have a masterclass. Now, when it comes to the referee and decisions going Argentina's way, we're not going to talk about it. We're going to leave that for the game. We're going to let the game do the talking. But at the end of the day, guys, in terms of a slight prediction, I do think Argentina are favorites. And for that reason, I do think Argentina will most likely win this game. I feel like Switzerland have what it takes to beat Argentina, and honestly, I would love an underdog story. I would love it if Switzerland get the win in this game, but I think Argentina just have slightly too much. I can see both Julian Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez having another stinker in this game. I think one of them has to perform at this moment. If they don't, then Argentina may struggle, but I do think some of these players who haven't been performing will finally perform in this game, and for that reason, I think Argentina will most likely win. But guys, that is the end of my last quarterfinal prediction video between Argentina and Switzerland. If you've enjoyed all the quarterfinal predictions, remember to leave a like on the video, remember to subscribe, and remember to leave a comment down below letting me know what your predictions are for this crazy game. And if you guys want to see semi-final previews and you want to see semi-final predictions and all the other World Cup videos, remember to subscribe to the channel. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.